there. Sig Simbigora. Hey everybody, welcome to Static Show. This is Bob.
I'm going to let her in. Hey everybody, this is Miles.
What did you say?
I'm going to let her in.
Oh, okay. I didn't quite understand that. I don't know what I thought you said.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said I'm going littering.
I'm going litter in.
Going littering. I'm like, what? Kind of weird, anti-woodsy, the owl kind of stuff is all that.
Hoot, hoot.
Yeah, give a hoot. Don't pollute. Help
Static
keep
ready.
America looking good. Hoo hoo.
Hoot, hoot.
Yeah. So, it's been kind of a downer here lately for
Yes.
around these parts. So,
Yes, right. Yep.
but not without its. What are you breathing so heavy? What the hell are you doing?
I'm just thinking.
Are you watching old VHS tape?
Walking it. All right. Go ahead.
So it's been a downer here lately, but it over the. I'm trying to think of how to say this, but over the years, I've had a lot of stories that involved my father-in-law, and he's an interesting guy, and he passed away, and so, but he's still interesting even though he's gone, because interesting things still happen in and around his presence.
Okay. All right.
So I've had many stories and really good times and everything, with the guy, and he's was a one of a kind of person, and always good for a laugh, and
Not your traditional father-in-law, I don't think.
no, I would definitely not.
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
No, not anything, untoward or something, but just non-traditional person.
Yeah.
So, we obviously had to go through the motions of someone passing away.
Sure.
And so he's unconventional person, and so it was a bit of an unconventional situation with that. So, and it's not over yet. This is going to keep going for a while, but this first phase, we'll call it phase number 1 here. We may have more to come in the next phase, which I won't talk about till it happens. But in phase number 1, we had what would be probably the more traditional thing, which is have a visitation. He was certainly not a religious person, and would not want religion to enter into any of this, and it didn't. But we did have a somewhat regular style visitation, minus any religious overtones.
Right.
So no preachers spoke, none of that kind of stuff, and no church music, and nobody sang Amazing Grace or anything like that.
Okay. All right.
So I'm there, and of course, it's a sad time, and my wife has to do a lot more than I do, which is probably the norm, but she has to stand up with all the people coming to give their condolences and so forth.
Yeah.
And he had remarried, and so his new wife was there, and so forth. But so I'm sitting in the back, because
Oh yeah.
I'm
Well,
not, I'm
modern
very
style.
I'm very antisocial,
Yes.
let alone at a funeral, which it's not my. If I didn't have, if it wasn't something, if I didn't have to go, if I there was some reason I could get out of this,
Yeah.
I would. But
Same.
I
Same.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it to the point where it's, I'm not gonna be mean to
Mhm.
anybody, and I will hold up to my responsibilities. But I'm not. This is not my thing.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So I'm holed up in the back corner of this, funeral place.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's quite a few people, a few more than I would have figured because he's an older man.
Sure.
But quite a few people, and there was a line that formed, with the, kind of like I don't know what would you call a wake line? I don't know what you call these things.
I don't think it's called a wake line, but go
That's
ahead.
not,
Yeah.
it's not
No,
a
I know what it
receiving
is.
line,
No, well, I
but
know. I don't know. Lying. I don't know.
yeah. So
Lying.
there's a line forming, and I'm back in the corner where everybody's coming in, and then they go
Mhm.
to the front, and then they go out the front, or they hang out, whatever they want to do,
Yeah.
And he had several brothers, and they were all there, and
Yeah.
I ended up hanging out with a couple of the brothers back in the back,
Sure.
and
Sure.
so then. My wife made me put on these. I had a new pair of shoes that I had not worn, and my other shoes were kind of scruffy looking. And she's like, "You got to put on the new shoes." And so my feet were killing me.
Tell me they weren't Crocs, right?
No,
Please
they're
tell
not.
me.
They're not Crocs.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
actually quite expensive shoes. But anyway, for
Um,
me, if you know me, believe me, this is the most expensive shoes I've ever owned in my life. So.
yeah. Right.
Um, And so I'm wearing them. My feet are killing me. So I'm sitting down back there, and everybody's milling about and talking and everything. And this line stretches all the way back to where I'm at,
Hmm.
back to the door, basically.
Yeah.
And my kids are talking to their relatives, and everybody's talking except for me. I'm just kind of hanging out, and then my father-in-law walks in the door.
Okay. All right.
And gets in line.
Your father. Okay. Explain this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The decedent
Yes, he's been cremated.
appears,
He's up front, been cremated.
and he arises from the dead like Jesus, and is in line now.
Yes, and he takes his position at the end of the line.
What?
This is the strange and weird, right?
It's like some Andy Kaufman thing or something. What the
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm
Yeah, you're
sitting
freaking me
there,
out, man.
and I mean, I wasn't talking to anybody or anything. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, holy fuck. And
I'm going to church. I'm going to
I'm
church. I
leaning
swear.
forward in my chair because this
Yeah.
person looks very, very similar to the man who just passed away.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I'm like,
That'd
is
be
this
freaky.
him? Is this not him? I mean,
Yeah.
if the guy would have looked at me, I would have burnt through his skull with my gaze.
Mouth open. Oh.
Now, I would say typically,
Mhm.
like, I'm just guessing. So you look at me, people see me, if you've ever
Right.
met me, not a lot of people look like me, I would
Men,
say.
no. Women, yes. Men, no. Yeah. Like very
So
homely women, yes. Yes.
now he looked, I mean, he had a beard, a full beard and mustache,
Yeah.
and he was older, and he had, he still had hair, but it wasn't like, super nice or anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was balding, but he wasn't bald because of various things. And
Yeah.
and it was black, had some black hair, but mostly gray, but not totally gray. and everything. This guy had all of that, right?
Right.
All of it. And he was he was a little taller, I would say, but only because everybody shrinks when they get old. He probably wasn't quite as old as my father-in-law.
Right.
But this guy walks in, and I swear to God, he looked like him. When he walked in that door, I was like, is this all a farce? Was this to rat somebody out? Or
Yeah, right.
Is
Yeah.
there some kind of big switcheroo going to happen here? Oh, hey,
Was he
sorry
with the
about
mob or
this.
something, or?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, he was not, and I've never seen this guy
Oh my
ever.
gosh.
I mean, the
Wow.
two of them were never together. I would say my father-in-law kind of has a look, but in that environment where he lived, it's not the look that
Mm-hmm.
everybody has. It's like
Right.
me
Right.
in the environment where he lives. I don't look like anybody there,
Right.
and
Right.
he certainly was not like that. And I was like, holy shit! I mean, I
Mhm.
thought for a minute, I'm like, this is not happening.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever had one of those experiences where you're like, no, this is not happening. Is this happening? This is not happening. And I wasn't the only one. And then later on, my wife saw him from a distance too, and was like, "What the hell?" And
Mhm.
turns out we found out who he was. Not that I know him or anything, but yeah, it was a really weird experience to have somebody who looked
What-
very, very similar.
Now, without giving away anything, I mean, this is not like a blood relative or
No,
anything.
he's not related in any way, shape, or form.
There's no way this is like some weird half brother or something,
No,
or
no, nothing
no,
like that. Nothing.
no. Okay.
No, just happens to be, guy that looks
Just
like him.
a scale 1 to 10, 10 being like complete clone. What would you give this guy?
On closer inspection, probably like an 8. But when he walked in that door, I was a 10. I was just like, holy shit.
Oh my God, that had to be weird.
Yeah, he was a little taller, I think, and a little. My father-in-law played football, so at
Mhm.
one point in his life, he was much more, broad and so forth. And he
Yeah.
got older, he got thinner. But this guy didn't look like he'd played football or anything. But
Right.
my father-in-law had lost a lot of weight and everything before he
Yeah.
passed away, so it was a
Did
little
you
hard to
talk to
tell.
this guy?
I did not. I was gonna like run up to him at first and say, "What the hell are you doing?"
You stupid son of a bitch! I'm gonna...
But then when I figured out it wasn't him, I didn't want to have anything to do with him. Nothing to do with him.
I hate you. I hate you.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
That I could only make it
That
worse.
is weird.
I could only
Yeah,
make
that
it
is
worse
so
if
weird.
I walked up and was talking to him in a familiar way. Then everybody would have thought it was him. So
Yeah.
you
Oh my
know.
God, that is weird.
Yeah, and I mean,
That freaked
it
me
was one
out.
of those kind of like heart stopping kind of things. It's like, what the, you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't
Did
a
I just
double
see
take.
like
It was
some
a
mouth open? Like,
yeah. I'm
oh.
like, what the? And he kind of turned when he came in, so I couldn't see his full face for a little while. I had to stare at him for like about 3 or 4 minutes before he kind of turned, so I could see his profile better. But
Yeah.
when he first came in, he was kind of facing me and then turned away, and it's just real quick.
Wow.
But yeah, I thought for sure. I'm like, that son of a bitch.
He faked the whole thing.
What the? And then why would he show up here? That was my other thought, was like, he's done this and now he shows up here. I mean, this guy's got a big set of balls, for Christ's sake.
Bob, listen, I don't have time. I can't tell you why. But
Yeah.
there's just reasons why. All right, I can't tell you.
I was like, that is the most.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah, I've never.
That's freaky.
Yeah, I haven't had that kind of weird feeling for a long time. That was one of those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that happened, and we went through and so forth. But yeah, probably one of the freakiest things that's happened in quite some time.
Wow.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. That would freak me
The
out.
only way it would have broken it, I did not hear him talk, because people have a certain way they talk, and so I don't know if he
Yeah.
talked the
Oh yeah.
same way or not. But if he would have come in talking that way, or if he would have yelled "God damn it" when he walked in, I would have known it's him.
Wait, I think he's got a concealed carry. It could be
Yeah,
him.
he was
It could be
packing it.
him. Like,
If he was
yeah, he's
packing some
packing.
heat, yeah, I would have been like, "Hey, what are you doing?" No, it was, gosh, it was so freaky, and I think he freaked a few people out, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think also because I was just kind of by myself there, it had a little bit more of an impact because I was in my own little world like usual. I got
Yeah.
snapped out of it, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, God rest his soul. And if you go back and listen, there's lots of
Yeah.
little
Yeah. There's
things
tons of
out
stories.
there.
Yeah. There's tons of. I think I briefly met your father-in-law at graduation. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think that's the only time I really was in his presence. I think, and that wasn't very long and all that.
Yeah, because he was down for that. I know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, you never did get to come to one of the big events or anything I told you about him. But
No, no, I was too afraid. Yeah, I
uh,
was too afraid.
yeah, well, it certainly was not for the weak of
Yeah.
Constitution.
Right.
Um,
Right. You
so
know, you won't believe me, but you actually sent me details on the visitation.
I did.
It
Yes.
was my condolences first of all to your family, but I
Yeah.
never sent.
It's been a week or two. So.
But and I thought when I saw that, I go, that's. I mean, it's a little bit of a trip, but I mean, it's not that far for me. I go, I'm definitely going to go.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
you didn't need to go.
100%. I'm 100% going to this. I'm going to go. And so I mentioned to my wife, and she's like, well, yeah, maybe we can go together. I said, yeah, maybe if it works out. And we got talking about it, and I got kind of, called out, though, because my wife's like, well, you want to go, right? I go, yeah, I want to kind of show up at the end like Han Solo in Star Wars. Just kind of,
Yeah.
like, blow your mind, just show up, And she's like, that's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard you say. I'm like, oh, maybe it is.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, since I took vacation, everyone else at work took vacation as soon as I got back. So I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's just not good. I go, I'm going to come walking in with like 5 minutes, to 8 or something and be like, well, I tried. I thought, well, Bob's going to be busy talking to everybody. And,
No, not really, but
I know. See, I misjudged you. I thought, no, certainly he wouldn't be in the back, slunched down like he does, And,
yeah. No,
yeah.
well, and then you would have come in, and I would have been like, "You won't believe this," but
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Right.
totally upstaged by a lookalike.
I know, because see, then what would I have added? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right? I
I
mean,
would have been like, you would have been like, not even a footnote. I've been like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
yeah, like, could you get out of my way? I'm looking at this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't show up. Yeah, because I totally would have been like, yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, so yeah, I had actually contemplated it. I was like, man.
But it was a nice service, and everybody was, it was
Yeah.
very fitting, given
Yeah.
his personality. So
Limitations.
yeah, the limitations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Then, yeah, I didn't have like a bunch of weird COVID rules, did they? Or
Oh, are you kidding? In Missouri, there's no COVID rules.
No, I don't know. I don't know if all that stuff is eased up or not or
I
whatever.
was telling, I had a meeting today, and everybody's asking me about stuff, and I'm like, well, I think there was over 100 people there, and they're like, what? I'm like,
Huh?
yeah, there was probably more. It was more than 100 at one time. Maybe when the line was long, when I saw this guy, there's more than 100
Yeah.
people there. And they're like, really? They let that many people? I'm like, it's Missouri. They're not.
Yeah.
They're like, they're only going to have 30 people at Prince Philip's funeral.
Oh, jeez. Give me
And I'm like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, they go in threes: DMX and Prince Philip, and then your father-in-law.
Exactly. So
That'd been
yeah.
weird if I would have came and I'd been standing behind a doppelganger and not known it, and you were just giving weird looks, because then I'd be weird, why isn't he coming over here, and why is he eye raping me? What is he doing?
Right?
What?
Did you bring this guy?
Yeah. As a complete goof, I hired this guy.
You hired this lookalike.
Here's my uncle.
Yeah.
That is weird. That is bizarre.
You brought this Steven Spielberg looking guy in here?
Yeah, right.
He does look like Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he did. A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
More so when he was... what the heck is going on over here?
I'm getting the bug.
Oh, okay. There's some... I got Elmer Fudd in here hunting rabbits.
Kill the wab.
No, we've got these... we call them stink bugs. I think that... I don't know if that's
actual name.
Oh, okay. Actual name is stink bugs. And they...
I hate
invasive,
those, yeah.
and they end up in the house. So
yeah, those are gross.
Just hunting a stink bug. Anyway, what's going on with you? I just had this weird.
That was my story, actually. Me trying to.
Oh, that was your story. Okay.
No, I didn't really have a story. I was just glomming onto your story. Is what I.
Oh well, but then you'll laugh at this then as well, because I have another little story that goes with this.
Well, go ahead, bring it on.
So I'm hanging out in the back, and I'm with a couple of the brothers, and people keep coming up because they know who he was, but they don't know everybody else because nobody else lives around there. So here I am. I'm old, right? I'm an old guy now, and they're coming up and they're going, "Oh, you must be his brothers." Now, two of them were, and then there's me.
Right, the bald guy.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you must be the brothers." And I'm like,
no,
I'm not a brother. Then they totally ignored me.
Oh, well, F you then.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh," and then they turned to the other two guys and started talking to them, and then I was out. So I'm like, "No, I'm not one of the brothers." And my son thought that was hilarious because then that would mean I would be my wife's uncle. But
our condolences to your brother.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not really. Screw you. We take it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, then I would introduce the other two if they were talking to me first, and then they would just move over to them and ignore me. So.
And who are you?
Yeah.
I'm nobody.
Are you the char woman? Char woman.
I'm the lowest self-esteem guest. I'm nobody. I'm absolutely nobody.
Yeah. So but my son thought this was hilarious because,
we're not talking to him.
He's like, if you remember, there was a story a long time ago when we were out to eat one night where my son called me Uncle Daddy, and he's like, "What do you think, Uncle Daddy?" or something like that, really loud. And we're all like, "Oh my goodness." He thought it was funny. And then here we are at the funeral thing, and everybody thinks that I'm one of the brothers, so I'm Uncle Daddy in this instance.
I think people looked at you and said, I wonder what his pronoun is.
You're terrible.
They weren't sure. They're like,
you're terrible.
Well, I think it's a guy. I think.
Very nice shoes. Those are very good shoes.
Very nice. Well, we don't care what they are wearing. They look very nice.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Okay, let me talk to the brothers.
Yeah, we'll just use they when we talk to him.
Yeah, they. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You laugh about that, but I have to do a lot of that pronoun business for my work. So
I know. I've just run into this with an acquaintance of my friend or my son.
Oh, I thought you meant yourself
Myself.
because you're in transition.
My adjectives. No, I was going to steal that from Sal from Jokers. He said my adjectives are fat and jazzy. Now, that is funny.
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't know. I have a hard time.
So yeah, my son thought that was hilarious that everybody kept coming up to me thinking I was
God, no one will talk to you. What's wrong?
one of the brothers, and I'll be like, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
And then sometimes I would say who I was, and sometimes I'd be like, no, I'm not.
You see,
Yeah.
I'm like kind of like his son-in-law, I guess, in a way. And well, we don't want to talk
Yeah,
to you.
well, never mind. You're a mooch.
You're the son-in-law.
You're a moocher.
Yeah, you're going to ask us for money. No, we don't talk to the son-in-law.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. So
We won't waste our breath on the son-in-law.
there, yeah.
There's nothing he can say or do.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and fun was had by all.
Yeah.